Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been a little bit of hiatus here on our Larry and Al Search for Truth podcast. Took some time off, but we're rejoining again. And this is episode number 54 already. We're over the 50 mark and moving on. So we have a special guest today again for the second time, which I'm very honored to have back. And we have Brenda here. So we're looking forward to having some conversation here.
Yeah.
And let's jump right into it. So Al and I have been talking, and we thought, well, let's talk about relationships, and that can be all kinds of relationships, good and bad, and some more intimate than others. But relationships were going to be our topic today. So let's continue what we were talking about before the camera.
Like I was saying that my relationship with my dad was when my parents got divorced. I was 16, and I didn't see my dad but once between the time I was 16 and 20. Then I saw him again when I came back from Vietnam. I was 22, and then I saw him again when I was at Cal Poly playing football. He went to a game with he went to one game, and then from the time, because he passed away when we first started our program.
I remember that, yeah.
But the one thing that I did, when Brenda and I got divorced, I focused on my relationship with my mother and my father, and I would talk to him. He was available to talk, and we talked quite a bit. And one of the things that I also learned was that I asked my aunt. She was, when my parents got divorced, I went to live with her and my cousins and stuff like that. But I wanted to bring my dad down, and she asked me. She says, "Is that something that you want, or is that something that Willie wants?" And I had to think about it. He was pushing. He was always kind of, you just hang tight, don't worry about me, kind of thing. And he had cancer, and he kept the narrative away. So, and when I think about that, the thing that I missed. Okay, I didn't have a relationship with my grandfather. I didn't have a relationship with my only one uncle, on all the other uncles. And then my children didn't have. God bless Brenda's side of the family. They have all the aunts and uncles and grandmother interacting. What's going on here? Hello? Now that's one of my cousins, and it's curious because he's her is my father's oldest was Manuel. My father was the middle, and her father was the third in the first group. Okay, that was the first group. Then it was the second group was Harold, Lucille, and Fred. Okay, and you catching this? That was the second group. Then the third group was Arthur, Carl, Trudy, and Gwen. The only ones left living is Gwen and me.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, but there was no relationships because one of the things I saw was still that were related by blood, and still that were related by marriage, and then the other group was by blood and marriage.
So 3.
But no, this it was something that when I was going to counseling, that was one of the things that I had to reconcile. I had to reconcile my relationship with my mother and my father, and because you want your children to have those kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay, but like I said, thank God, I married Brenda, and her family is outstanding. And my mother-in-law, and I still interact with my ex-brother-in-laws and that kind of thing. My little cousin, my little nephews and stuff like that, which is, I try to be available. I mean, not something that I'm pushing, but I'm available to help them out if they call or whatever. They do visit me. So.
What about you, Brenda? How is yours in comparison to what else fit?
My relationship is pretty intact, I would suspect.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was in the military, so he wasn't physically home all the time.
Yeah.
But I was raised by a mother and a grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And plus at the one point, I was the quote unquote baby of the family because I had two older brothers and me. And then there was a pretty good 8-year gap before I had my little brother and my little sister. So, we interact in that way. And probably as I was coming up here, I was thinking what I like about my situation right now in terms of church. I go to Friendship Baptist Church, and now every sibling belongs to Friendship Baptist Church, and so when I look back there and I see them sitting in their spot, quote unquote, their spot, it brings joy to me. It had no conversation with me. It's just a matter of I've been there for Friendship for over like 37 plus years.
Right.
So it's always been quote unquote the home church.
Yeah.
We had funerals there, we had this there. But to see my relatives join Friendship brings me joy.
That's pretty unique too, to have that kind of connection after all these years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a long time, 37 years, and they're there now.
Yeah.
Instead, I like that word you said, you bring joy in your relationship.
Well, when I sit back and I'm a deaconess at my church, so I typically sit up front. But when I look and see my relatives over there, that brings me joy.
Right.
And then on third Sunday of every month, I do an outreach to a convalescent home.
Mm-hmm.
And then my nephew, Stephen, I don't know if you know Stephen before, but my nephew, Stephen, he has joined that community too. So it's like, okay, now and it is just a little sermonette and a couple of songs and so on and so forth. Right. But the rest home, the people there, they really, as Beach Creek, they really look forward to us coming there on third Sunday and bringing that. They're all ready for us. And they have their own song books. This is a song I want to sing. Let them pick the song. It's fun. It's fun. It's rewarding, and I'm giving back to the society.
So you have a relationship with that group too, as separate from your family and the church, but you have this connection with when you go to this home.
Oh yeah.
And fellowship and all that.
Yeah,
awesome.
And I still do my track and field, so I had been gone for a little bit of time, and so I finally got back on the thread again. But, but I have that community too.
That's another one. Huh? You have a lot of them. Yeah,
track and field community, and we meet out every Saturday morning at Irvine High School and work out.
Yeah.
We talk probably 50%. Work out the other 50% of the time. Right. But that's a community too.
Exactly.
Of like minds and like goals and stuff like that. And so it's kind of, I don't have any complaints about my life right now.
Mm-hmm. Very healthy.
I touch all the bases. And looking forward to my daughter coming home. She's going on a couple weeks. Yeah. She's already got.
She's the organizer.
She already got everything planned out. She says, "Mom, let's have a beach day." And I have suggested one beach. She says, "Okay, we're going down to Newport Beach.
Yeah,
we have a beach day."
She told me she was going to go get rolled tacos, and I said, be careful. What my condition is. I can't be too far away from the restroom. But
are you going to go?
I'm trying to figure out how I can go.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I hope you can do that.
Yeah, she's looking forward to this. She told me about it.
Yeah. And then the middle one wants to go to Calazan. They want to do a day trip down that way. And I'm just
to the casino.
Yeah. And I have to carry my my alternate urinals.
Too far in
Oh,
between,
man,
right?
no,
too
no.
few, too far in between.
Oh man, it just but this is I was thinking, and somebody asked me, and I said, well, I'm thankful that I have this that's going on. That means I'm still alive,
Yeah,
and you know what I mean.
you're still in the consideration.
Yeah, and I got the kidney thing going on.
Yeah.
I got the heart thing going on.
Right.
I got the but you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, I'm for 81 years old, I'm okay.
Yeah, you just keep going. You just keep going, and that's it.
And I think I'm thankful for my mind.
Yeah,
I'm thankful for my mind.
right.
You know what I'm thinking about that?
Yeah, that's the one thing. You got a strong mind. I'll tell you that. You grasp things so well, and so that hasn't diminished. Fundamentally, that's for sure.
How long you know me now? 30?
We're getting between 35 and 40. I don't
Oh
know
my
exactly
gosh.
what we got.
Been that long?
How we met, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we started out in '89.
Well, we kind of knew each other
Yeah.
before that, but we weren't working as close
Yeah.
together. But then
Yeah.
once we started,
You remember Bill Shoemate? Well, he's the one that introduced Larry to me.
Mm-hmm.
Bill said, "Can you help him out?" Because he was studying, and he came up to Joplin, and that's how we first met.
Yeah, that's where we met at Joplin.
Yeah.
Because I had been working at YGC as a teacher, and then I was looking to try to get out of the court schools and go to like a public school, and I wanted to coach, and I wanted a regular type environment. And then I got one, but it was a really difficult one. It was a lot of requirements that it was unrealistic in what they had me doing. But anyway, at the end of the school year, I got riffed, so I got laid off. So I had to go. I had to start a house for it, and so I thought, well, I'm going to check out Joplin. So I went and met Jerry Matney, and he interviewed me. And do you remember Jerry? Yeah,
He just passed away.
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Yeah, so he was really nice, and he said, "Yeah, we'll get you some work." And they kept me pretty busy there. But that's where I met you, and a couple of other people that I kept working relationships with.
That was at Joplin?
At Joplin, yeah.
Yeah, I like that job.
How come?
Because he was gone. He
Oh,
was gone Monday through Friday.
No, that's Los Pinos.
Los Pinos. Yeah.
That was Los
it was
Pinos.
the same kind of concept.
Yeah.
It's a camp.
Yeah, we had
but
two babies.
but that was when I give you the chronology. Is that when I graduated, and then Coach Phil came to me, and he said, "Phil, you married?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I got a job for you." That's when I went to YTS.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I graduated, and I put in all the applications for Orange County. Okay, and so Los Pinos called me, to work up in Los Pinos.
Yeah.
And so I was I was Sunday through Wednesday. Was it
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
You were a counselor.
I was a counselor.
Yeah,
And that's how I met John.
three on, 4 off.
Yeah.
You've gone 3 days in a row.
So
Now
here's
you're coming
what
home.
I remember is having Terry Lynn, and that was a C-section. And I couldn't get out of the bed.
And you had nobody helping
I had nobody helping me.
Oh my God.
I finally had to cry out to my
And how old was
mom.
Markel when that was?
She was 3 years old.
So she still needed you too.
She turned it. She was well mannered and no thing. She came out that way.
Yeah, right. She's always been that way.
When I was unable to get out of the bed, she turned into a terror because she knew I couldn't get.
No one's watching. Yeah, I'm gonna go crazy.
She knew I couldn't get out, so I ended up calling my mom and grandmother. I said, because I had a C-section. I said, I can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
The milk isn't in. I can't feed nobody. I can't get nothing done up in here.
Yeah.
So my grandmother and my father busted through the door about 5 minutes later.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's relationships, right?
About 5 minutes later, they were in the house.
Yeah.
And, my grandmother ended up staying with me. Just several things now.
Just to get you back on your feet.
Well, that was 6 weeks,
Oh, wow.
I was a C-section.
Yeah, right.
6 to 8 weeks to heal that back up to even get out. So I couldn't even get out of the bed.
Yeah.
You want to know the story of how I got to juvenile hall?
Yeah.
Okay, I was up at you do the AM workforce, PM workforce. Okay, I was on the AM workforce. We was AM workforce, and there was a meeting, and I didn't know about it. And one of the counselors said, "Oh yeah, I told him about the meeting," and I quit on the spot. Okay, I quit on the spot. So what happened was that I went to juvenile hall to apply for the recreation job, and Harold Cook interviewed me. Okay, he interviewed me, and then after he interviewed me, he says, "Why?" And I said, "Well, this is what happened up there." Blah blah. He said, "No, this is what you're going to do. Well, this is what I'm going to do." He says, "With your experience, because I had a massive amount of experience, I'm going to put me in Unit F, and then all I did was transfer me from Los Pinos to juvenile hall." Yeah.
Did that help when you got moved down to juvenile hall? Was he home more?
Yes.
Every day, every night at least?
I mean, I couldn't cook. I couldn't get out to bed, so I just needed him to be home.
I had the Sunday, Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, and then I was off Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I had that shift. And then I was and I was able to substitute teach and all, go to school and all that kind of stuff. But no, think about our relationship. I paid attention to you, when I was getting ready to start the program that we started to run, and when I noticed that you were real good with kids, and you had even kind of temperament where my temperament was used. When I was at Los Pinos, it was a Cracker Jack, but I had that's when I made that I did that deal. I said I had to think about my family, and I had to calm down. I went underground for quite a while, but what I saw was the balance between you and I. And and I wasn't, I was really happy that I chose you to work with me because it was a good environment for kids. Kids would get out of hand. We were always in line on what we were trying to do educationally for the kids, and behaviorally, you were the soft guy. I was a hard guy. It fitted our personalities, and and I think that was the reason why our programs were so successful.
Well, let me ask you this, kind of switch gears a little bit, but you've talked about your relationship with your parents, your family. You've talked about yours, but quite different, from what I'm hearing. So how did that, when you were married, how did that help or counter?
Well,
how did you work well?
This is from my perspective. Her father and my uncle were the same kind of people. Okay, I mean, she had the barbecue pit, and we had construction, and but also in that situation, I had my aunt Willamette, who kept her, like I said before, her house was the first cousin's house. She had 5 kids, and then there was the girls. There was 2 girls. They came. We was there at the same time I was living there. So she had her 5 kids plus 3 more. There's 8 kids living in the house that we helped build. And I learned a lot.
She was a rock.
Oh man, solid.
Do you remember her?
Yeah.
And she taught me, how to turn the other cheek, and she taught all of us those things. You know what I'm saying?
Really helpful.
Yeah, even learned how to go through divorce. I have 2 examples. I have my mother and father on the other end of the spectrum. I have my uncle and aunt on the other end of the spectrum. Okay, they didn't communicate. They communicated, even though they were divorced. And then, and I was one of the.
Did that help you guys in your?
Well, for me, it helped me deal with, with taking care of my family. Still in a situation, no matter what is going on between Brenda and myself, we still had 3 children.
We had 3 girls.
And there are three
Three
girls.
girls to be 3 girls to be precise, and they were in my.
What ages were they again now?
I think I don't remember at this point. They're less than teenagers. At one
Even
point.
Markel was.
Yeah, probably.
Markel was a senior, and Terry Bean was a freshman, and Kim was 6 years old.
Yeah, 6, and then the 11th grade, and then Markel.
Markel was a senior, and
Yeah.
Terry Bean was a freshman.
Yeah. Anyway, what was your question again?
Well, just that, how you're working together through the separation, divorce, and how your relationship and how yours with your family, yours with yours, and then how did you find that common ground to continue?
And my commitment, my personal commitment, I think I said it a little bit earlier, that my girls were not going to grow up without their father.
Yeah, okay.
So that was my commitment. Even if I had to make the arrangements for the Sunday that they went to the Brenda Park pitch, Sunday they went to a baseball game at Angel Stadium. I did those arrangements.
You set that up.
So they would have activity. Yeah, enough. I mean, he did too.
Oh yeah, right, I understand.
But I made sure that they were going to have a relationship with their dad, and it wasn't going to be contentious between him and me. Yeah. They can see I'm going to, like right now, I'm going to visit, I'm going over to dad's. Mm-hmm. No contention. I'm over at mom's, no contention. We still do holidays.
We do holidays together, pictures, and
we still do the holidays together, and all of that, was on purpose. All of that was intentional.
Right.
It was intentional. So they could, because they're girls, so they have a relationship with their dad.
Well, that's a strong commitment and one that, you really work at to get that.
I mean, he's not a horrible person.
No, I understand.
It's not like he went out drunk every night. But he said he was a decent person that deserved to have, a relationship with my daughter.
And you saw the importance for them. Absolutely, in their life.
Absolutely.
And one of the reasons why people ask me, well, why did you get remarried? And what I saw growing up with my father's side of the family, and how dysfunctional it is when you go through that situation, bring new people into the environment. Okay, you bring somebody else into the environment, especially with my children. No, and I didn't. That wasn't,
I think you've told me that before. Yeah, why? It's kind of come up in conversation over the years. Yeah. But it was like you didn't want someone. No.
I don't put my children through any kind of stress. This is their mother, right? And they don't have to be involved with anybody else on my side. There's nothing there to do because when they see me, they see me. Mm-hmm. They don't see nobody else.
And then my commitment was that they were going to grow up knowing their father. 100% knowing their father. There's not, if he calls, she calls, whatever the situation is, they were going to have a strong relationship with no barriers. Mm-hmm. Anytime it's back to school night, I call him up. Anytime the softball games or whatever, he knew the full schedule, the whole 9 yards. One time, and I had gotten remarried. And one time somebody asked me, how's your new husband and your old husband doing? I said, well, here they come. Because he had something with his leg. Had something with
I had
an infection.
He had an infection in his leg, and so my new husband went by and picked him up. And came over and
I never knew about that. That's a good point.
And even when he had his thing, his infection, he was having Terry Day go over to change dressing. I says, no. I says, I'm going over there to change the dressing. And my new husband at the time, he says, you only have one husband. I says, he's the father of my children. I said, that's bottom line this. He's the father of my children, and I'm going to go over there. You can come. The best thing Alvin ever did is when, Bill came, that was his name, he came and he was there with me. And then Alvin greeted him. Oh, hi, Bill. Thanks for letting your wife come over. At that point, they talked to themselves over the phone and not me.
Was that the first time they kind of interacted?
In that
Yeah,
regard. But he was a nice man.
he took me when my dad. I think it was when my dad passed away. He took me to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we talk about relationship. It's a whole other unique relationship.
But
We never really knew about it. I never knew
it was an intentional thing too. He had kids. I had kids. We wait every Saturday morning for all 6 of the kids to call in because they call every Saturday morning. You know, but he's still my daughter's father,
Right.
and I wanted them to have a smooth relationship with their dad,
And which
pays off
It's
now.
just like
Well,
it's like
yeah.
Monday night. They got back from Vegas. They got Monday morning. They got back from Vegas, and they came over. Both of them came over Monday night, and we watched TV. And who usually carries off on Mondays, and she'll call me and say, "Kevin, you up for a visit?" And I said, "Sure, come over. We'll eat something and we'll watch a movie." And if as a matter of fact, Markel was down at Brenda's house, and she was using you guys went to Costco or something like that. And then when she came up here, and we was trying to get the movies, but I couldn't get my cable thing going on. Or usually we watch a movie, and then they go home. You know,
They call it a parent run.
yeah, that's
Right.
what they,
Well, I know the Terry Lynn's pretty.
They come by and see me, and then they go see Dad. Say, "Oh, this is our parent run."
That's what they call it. Huh?
yeah. And then when the baby, when Kim comes in, she takes over. She calls the shots. You know, we're going here, we're going to do this. Well, which is like we've gone camping together and stuff like that, which is fine. And you know the important thing is
Our glamping trip.
you know the grappling trip. Oh man, it was fun. It was fun. But the important thing that I learned how boundaries are really important. Okay, and you know, Brenda and I, you know, she's invited me to her track things and conferences and stuff like that. But you know, there's boundaries for everybody,
Yeah.
and then you have to recognize what the boundaries are, and you know, and we did it was what 40 years we've been divorced. Yeah, we've been divorced for 40 years.
Well, so I was wondering, we're going to wrap this 54 up, but
Okay.
we'll go on to 55. I just wondered, can we continue
Sure.
on with this time? Because I do, on rock camera, I wanted to ask you a question about where I wanted to ask on the camera, but I want to make sure that would be appropriate. So, so we're going to sign out right now for 54. Don't forget to subscribe. My granddaughters tell me they subscribe. I don't know. They always give them 2 thumbs up, but they said, we don't really watch them, but we give them thumbs up. So I appreciate that. But anyway, the more the merrier. But thank you, everybody, for watching 54. And we shall do 55 in a minute.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Those of you that are out there listening, subscribe to our page so that you can get the notifications of when we're going to record again.